Remember that kid in math class who would always say, "When are we ever gonna use this in life? This is boring." Wait, you are that kid? Well, I was that kid too. And in this video, we're gonna learn an actually fun way to apply what we should have learned in school to our finances and use it to retire hecka early.
I'm a lazy boy, all my money working for me. Chilling on the couch, what's on Rick and Morty?
Welcome to Financialism, where we expand our wealth, growth, mindsets. I'm on a journey to be able to retire by the year 2030 or choose to live a work optional life. And really, that's just a series of maybe 4 to 5 behaviors that I repeat consistently every single month, no matter what, and a very simple math problem. Now, we're going to solve that math problem, which gives you the answer of how can I retire early? How much do I need to be investing? Where do I even start this journey? Well, you're in the right place. In about 10 minutes time, you will have a blueprint to retiring early if you choose to. And if you can't, maybe you're a little bit later in life, that's okay. You could pass this message on to someone else as you retire with more swag than you otherwise would have. The first step to retiring early is you actually need to make money. I'm gonna share my personal details in this video. Of course, don't just copy it, paste it to your life story. You might be making less money than me, more money than me, have kids, not have kids. Your life situation and circumstances are very different than probably any person that you randomly click a YouTube video of. But that being said, I hope you can use my life experience and kind of juxtapose it with your own, and you could create your own blueprint based on mine. Without further ado, in 2015, I graduated from UCLA and I started work. Just kidding, no one was gonna hire me. I had no idea what I was doing. I was really sad during this time, having graduated UCLA, one of the most prestigious universities in the world, and I kind of had nothing to show for it. Now, luckily, I had the privilege of my grandparents and being a single child. Maybe that's why they chose me. Oh my gosh. Anyways, they left a bunch of money for me to pay for my bachelor's, so I graduated debt-free. I think that was a very powerful thing for me to experience because they set up this generational wealth. Now, they were not millionaires or anything like that, but they did save up enough money to pay for my education. Now, I was very frugal and I went to a community college first, and so that saved me tens of thousands of dollars to begin with. But the 2 years that I did spend in UCLA, well, they paid for it. And I'm sad to say, you know, my grandma never got to see the day that I graduated, but my grandpa, he did. So that was really cool. Really excited by that. So I'm glad that I finished that journey. But making money was hard. Right out of UCLA, I kind of pivoted left, right. What do I want to do? What do I want to be? So I took any job that was thrown at me. I worked at a restaurant. I did parties for kids on the weekend. Yeah, that's right. I was Minnie Mouse. I was Superman. I was everyone, taking on cash jobs, whatever it took to make money. And as soon as I made my first dollar, I started investing. I kept investing ever since I got that first dollar. And we'll get to my investments a little bit later in this video, because they will help me live my work optional lifestyle. In fact, I will be taking money from my investments and they're gonna fund my lifestyle. One of the jobs that I took turned out to be my future career. It was a behavioral therapist. So I was working with children on the autism spectrum and I ended up loving it. I loved it so much that in 2018, I started a master's program for applied behavior analysis, and I graduated that program at the end of 2019, and now I got my master's in applied behavior analysis. That bumped up my salary, but just by a little bit, because the master's itself does not make the difference when it comes to a field as sensitive as applied behavior analysis, especially working with children on the autism spectrum. You have to prove yourself yet again by passing a board certification exam, which I did. Now that's when things changed. In 2019, my average income went from $33,000 all the way to $80,000. In 2020, 2021, my average income about $80K, And between 2015 and 2019, my average income was closer to $33,000. By the way, if you want to track how much you have made year by year in the United States, you could go to ssi.gov and check it out. That's where I found out how much I made on average between 2015 and 2021. So that's what I was starting with. But I did not wait for more money to come my way in order to begin my journey. So you probably shouldn't either. So what is early retirement? Everyone defines it a little bit differently, but what's important to me is that my investments can pay for my essentials, right? It's not about fun and games, glitz and glamour. It's not about riding in a Ferrari or whatever it is, buying fancy Pokemon cards for hundreds of thousands. That's not what retirement is to me. It is being able to simply live and not produce anything for the world. I have calculated that I will need about $400 for food, $1,500 for shelter, another $100 for transportation. That's because I bought a used car and I am only paying for gas and insurance when it comes to my used car. So that's a one-time cost and perhaps some repairs or anything like that. And then healthcare because America, and I estimate about $500 a month going to that. And in total, that brings me to about $2,600 roughly, which is $31,200 a month. Now, in order to get this type of money off of my investments, I need to multiply it. Remember I talked about math? This is where it comes in handy right about now. Your math teacher should be so proud of you right now for watching this video. By the way, like, comment, and subscribe if you are enjoying this so far. That 31,000, that 31.2K, you're going to have to multiply that by 25. That's where you get 780,000. So I will need my investments to total 780,000 to safely withdraw 31.2K every single year, no matter what. Now, this is based on the Trinity study. I know some of you are like, what? Why 25? So the Trinity study has went back to previous years of stock market history, and it showed us that there is a 98% chance that you will never outlive your money within a 50-year time span as long as you are taking out 2 to 4% of your investments tops. So you cannot withdraw more than 4%. Assuming I'm withdrawing 4% from 780,000, that is exactly $31,200. But that's a little bit too close for comfort, right? I want to go to Disneyland sometimes. I want to go on a trip. And even though those are not essentials, arguably, they might be because fun is part of the human experience. We want to be able to have joys. As much as I think it is a great joy to be living passively off of your investment, I'm a little bit greedy and want a little bit more. So instead of 31.2K, I am estimating a need for about $50,000 to cover all of my expenses for survival on Earth. Might be a little bit less, might be a little bit more. Inflation plays a role as well, so it might be $60,000. But I'm going to stick with $50,000 for the sake of this example. In order to get to $50,000 every single year that I could withdraw from the stock market, I would need $1.25 million. That would mean I need about 11 more years in order to reach 1.25 million. I'm currently investing actually an average of $4,000 a month, and that's thanks to all my side hustles and all of that. More videos on that to come in the future, but I expect life to happen and my average to slowly decrease to about $2,500 a month. And if I do that, invest $2,500 a month for the next 11 years, I will reach $1.26 million, giving me a little bit of cushion there. And this does assume that history of 100 years will continue occurring. Ticker symbols that track the generality of the stock market, they're called the index funds. So one index fund just tracks the top 500, another index fund tracks the top 3,500. The ticker symbols are VTI for the top 3.5K companies. Another ticker symbol for the top 500 stocks is called VOO. Now, I don't just invest in these. I have exposure to a lot of different individual companies. I have ETFs that track different sectors, but gradually over time, I will be buying more and more index funds that strictly follow the US stock market and go from there. Because history shows that for the last 100 years, returns have averaged an average 10%, which is enough for 2.5K invested every single month to reach $1.26 million within 11 years. Now, whatever your numbers are, whatever amount of money you need to cover your expenses, that should be your goal. And you know what? Scratch that. Maybe your goal isn't to cover all of your expenses. Maybe you want to cover just your rent. Well, then the total amount of money you need is a lot less if you want your money to basically last your whole entire lifespan. And by the way, earlier I mentioned the Trinity study accounts for about 50 years where you will have this probability of your money lasting. It might last closer to 100 years. It might be 20 years. You never really know. So you do want to plan an emergency fund for market crashes, or rather an opportunity fund for market crashes, where you will continue investing even though you are already living a work optional life. Maybe 50% of any side hustle income will continue funding your investments or other projects that will give you income as you age through this existential crisis that we are all living through. But anyways, it's a great time to learn to invest. If you like that video, comment, like, subscribe. Don't forget to follow for more. There's some more videos popping up right about now, so enjoy those.